Have you ever pondered the power of a single vote? It might seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but let me assure you, it's anything but. Voting is a fundamental cornerstone of any democratic society, and every vote, including yours, has the potential to make a profound difference. Why is voting so important, you might ask? Well, it's more than a mere act of ticking a box on a ballot paper. It's an affirmation of your right to have your say in the decisions that shape your world. It's you participating in the democratic process, lending your voice to the chorus that decides the direction of your society. It's not just a right, but a responsibility, a duty, and a privilege that many people around the world are still fighting for. Now you might be thinking, what difference can my single vote make? Let me tell you a story. In the year 1994, there was an election for the United States House of Representatives in the state of Connecticut. The candidates were incumbent Sam Gaedinson and his challenger, Edward Munster. After the votes were counted, Gaedinson won by just 4 votes. 4 votes out of over 184,000 that were cast. Imagine that. 4 individuals could have stayed home that day thinking their votes wouldn't matter, but they didn't. They voted, and their votes decided who would represent them in Congress. So, you see, every single vote carries weight. Your vote matters. It's like a tiny ripple that can create a wave of change. It's the power to influence policies, to hold leaders accountable, and to shape the future of your country. It's the power to make a difference. And so, as we delve deeper into the world of voting, let's carry this thought with us: the power of a single vote. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to you, your voice, your vote, your power. Remember, your single vote holds the power to shape the future. So how does this powerful process of voting work? Let's dive right in and decode it, step by step. First things first, before you can cast your vote, you need to be registered as a voter. This is a crucial step because it's your ticket to participate in the democratic process. Registration typically involves filling out a form with your personal details. You'll need to provide proof of your identity and residence, and you must be of a certain age, usually 18 years old. The specifics may vary from one place to another, so it's essential to check your local regulations. Once you're registered, you're ready for the main event, voting day. This is the day when you get to make your voice heard. It's a simple process, really. You walk into a polling station, usually a public place like a school or a community center, and you're directed to a private booth where you can make your choice in peace. In this booth, you'll find a list of candidates or proposals, depending on what's being voted on. You make your choice, usually by marking a box next to your preferred candidate or answer. But what happens after you've cast your vote? This is where it gets interesting. Your vote doesn't just vanish into thin air. It embarks on a journey to become part of the final tally. First, it's collected with all the other votes from your polling station. Then it's securely transported to a centralized location where the votes are counted. This is usually done under strict supervision to ensure that every vote is accounted for and that the process is free from manipulation. Now you may be wondering, how exactly are the votes counted? Well, it's a meticulous process. Every single vote is checked and verified. In some places, this is done manually, with a team of people examining each ballot. In other places, machines are used to speed up the process. Either way, the aim is to ensure that every vote is counted correctly. Once all the votes are counted, the results are announced. This is the moment of truth, the moment when we find out who or what has won the majority of votes. It's a moment of excitement, anticipation, and sometimes surprise. But most importantly, it's a moment that reflects the collective voice of the people. And there you have it. That's the journey of a vote, from the moment you register to the moment the results are announced. It's a process that's steeped in history and tradition, yet constantly evolving to meet the needs of modern society. It's a process that's simple yet profound because it's not just about choosing leaders or deciding on issues. It's about expressing your views, making your voice heard, and shaping the future of your community, your country, and perhaps even the world. And that's how your vote travels from your fingertip to the final tally. But wait, what about those common myths that keep people away from voting? Let's dive into some of those misconceptions and debunk them, shall we? One of the most prevalent myths is that one vote doesn't matter. This couldn't be further from the truth. History is replete with instances where a single vote has tipped the scales, deciding the fate of entire elections. It's like the ripple effect. Even the smallest stone can create large waves. Your vote is that stone, and the waves? Well, they're the change you can bring about in your community, in your country. Then there's the myth that voting is too complicated. Admittedly, the process can seem daunting at first glance, but it's actually quite straightforward. It's essentially a three-step dance: registration, understanding the ballot, and casting your vote. There are numerous resources available online and offline to guide you through each step. Remember, the goal of voting is inclusivity, not exclusivity. It's designed to be accessible to everyone, regardless of their background or education level. Another common misconception is that all politicians are the same, so why bother voting? This is a dangerous assumption. While it's true that no politician is perfect, it's also true that each one brings unique perspectives and policies to the table. By not voting, you're effectively surrendering your ability to influence which policies get implemented and which ones don't. Lastly, there's the notion that my vote doesn't count if I'm not in a swing state. This is a fallacy. While it's true that swing states often receive the most attention in national elections, every vote is crucial in local and state elections. These elections often have a more direct impact on your day-to-day life than national ones. Unmasking these misconceptions allows us to see the true value of our vote. What if you encounter challenges while trying to vote? In our journey to understand the voting process, we've seen the power of a single vote, decoded the voting process, and debunked common misconceptions. Now let's grapple with some common challenges that voters may face and explore ways to overcome them. Firstly, you might be unsure about where to vote. This is a common concern, especially for first-time voters or those who have recently moved. The solution is simple. Your local election office's website will have a polling place locator. Enter your address and voila! It will tell you exactly where to go to cast your vote. Now, what if the problem isn't where to vote, but how to get there? Lack of transportation is another hurdle that voters often face. But don't worry, there are plenty of organizations that offer free or discounted rides to polling stations on election day. You can also coordinate with friends, family, or neighbors to arrange a carpool. Moving on, let's talk about voter eligibility. You might be unsure if you're eligible to vote. Here's the thing. As long as you're a citizen who will be 18 years or older on election day, you're eligible. Some states even allow you to pre-register if you're 17 but will turn 18 before the election. If you're unsure, check your state's specific guidelines on their election office's website. Lastly, let's address the elephant in the room: voter intimidation. It's illegal and it's not tolerated. If you encounter any form of intimidation at the polls, you can report it to the election officials on site or call the Election Protection Hotline. Remember, your vote is your voice, and no one has the right to silence it. Overcoming voting challenges might seem daunting, but with the right information and resources, it's a breeze. After all, every challenge is an opportunity to become stronger, more informed, and more empowered. No hurdle is too high when it comes to exercising your right to vote. So why should you vote, you might ask? Well, let's think about it. Voting isn't just about checking a box next to a name, it's about making a choice, expressing your opinion, and having a say in the direction of your country. It's your opportunity to impact the issues that matter to you, from education to healthcare, from climate change to economic policies. When you vote, you're not just a spectator, you're an active participant in the democratic process. You're shaping the future, one ballot at a time. Yes, even a single vote can tip the scales in an election. It's a powerful tool, a privilege that shouldn't be taken lightly. So let's not underestimate the importance of voting. It's not just a civic duty, it's our responsibility as citizens. It's a way for us to voice our opinions, to influence our government, and to make a difference. Your vote is your voice. Make it heard. Get out there and vote.